whatever that means.
I don't know.
Oh, I thought Clinton's picture just froze.
Yeah. Well, that.
Yeah.
All right.
We were just Trek in color.
We were discussing the fact that this is a very unique thing to be having to discuss a series that you don't know who has seen how much of it yet. You know, even among the three of us, Chuck, you've seen 2 episodes. Kreg has seen 11. I've seen 4. Somebody out there has seen 1. Somebody out there has seen 20. You know, it's just a weird way to be, dealing with Trek.
It is, but it's fun. Actually, I like all the episodes at my disposal, except for when it comes in the context of doing the show like you've been talking about. Then you got to worry about spoilers and all that kind of stuff if you're not, watching them all in a row. So, yep.
What is this?
It's very...
What is this? What kind of screenshot is that, Facebook?
That's yeah.
Did you see that? I was on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like it's witness protection programming our faces. I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Well, that ought to get their attention if they see it in the feed.
What the heck?
Worst snapshot ever.
Yeah, there's a snap to chat about right there. I'm telling you.
Or a chat to snap. All right.
Crackle pop.
Let me get to the recorder. And you ready to go?
Yep.
I am ready.
All right. I am ready too.
I was being them ready.
Give you the traditional hand signal. How's that?
Works for me. This is The Topic is Trek, episode 162 for Friday, July 5th, 2024. Coming up in this episode, a Jedi changeling, a Starfleet tank, a new season of Prodigy, all that and more right now on The Topic is Trek. Prodigy 2, The Search for Chakotay. Welcome to The Topic is Trek, the podcast that runs on impulse power. Join us for a journey where no show has gone before. If it has to do with Star Trek, there's a good chance we'll talk about it sooner or later, because on this show, the topic is Trek. Engage already. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another thrill-packed edition of The Topic is Trek. I'm Clinton, one of your co-hosts here on The Topic is Trek. And, of course, in order to be a co-host, I have to have co-hosts with me. So, beaming in to join me from parts unknown with the hip new catchphrase that you possibly may be talking about sometime in the next couple of years.
And
it is Mr. Kreg Step.
Pretty sure you've heard it before, too. Energizing, Captain. Oh, he turned in inside out. That's why you can't hear him, because he's on mute.
Oh.
Don't squeeze the Charmin.
I think you need to go back on mute.
Yeah, I agree.
I need to go back on mute.
And also beaming in to join us is Mr. Chuck Tomasi.
Energizing myself, if that's appropriate, in mixed company.
No, that's
no. Do it in the privacy of your own home.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. It's great to be talking to you again on this auspicious occasion, our first ever premiere of Star Trek on Netflix.
That's right.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Premiere on Netflix. No.
Star Trek stuff has been on Netflix before.
But it hasn't premiered
But
on
Hasn't
Netflix.
premiered there.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, this is an auspicious occasion. I'll get out the auspicious sauce.
Okay. And also at the same time, if you're unaware and you don't have Paramount Plus, season 1 of Lower Decks, all the episodes are available right now on YouTube. So
Oh,
if you
really?
can watch all of season 2 of Prodigy on Netflix and all of season 1 of Lower Decks on YouTube, what do you need Paramount Plus for?
This is but not boding well for this whole
Right. You know, I had to unsubscribe from the Paramount Plus channel because when I go to my subscriptions page, it'd be all of SEAL Team 6 or whatever the show was, or whenever they do a season drop like that. And I've got like, 3-4 pages of just episode titles. I'm like, they can't bomb my subscriptions page like that.
Oh, yes, they can. And they do.
Yeah. So I didn't see that so I didn't see them release Lower Decks on there.
It's an incentive to get you to upgrade to premium. If you upgrade to premium, we won't bomb your feed.
There you
Yeah.
go. See?
Yeah, from Plus to Premium.
Well, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of season 2 of Prodigy. Plus, we have some news to share. And in order for us to do that, we have to check in with Charlie. Now, we never know. Are we going to get Charlie X or, oddly enough, Mirror Charlie, who is really nice? Let's find out. So,
Charlie X Prime or Charlie X
Spin the discovery wheel and find out.
Charlie Y?
Are we all set to do subspace chatter?
Sure thing, friend. I love subspace chatter. Let's get going.
All right.
That's just a creepy picture.
Hey,
It is.
it looks like
I have the suspicion that he draws on his goatee just to distinguish himself, but
he found a Sharpie on the Enterprise. And
It was
You
a
hear from
practical
me.
joke. Someone said, "Here, drink out of this cup."
actually, he looks a little Klingonish, doesn't he?
he does. He does
Yeah.
indeed. All right. Well, Chuck, you have the first
Stole it
story.
off of the Klingons. Give me that.
Yeah. He stole her uniform, too.
Take that, Kang.
Yeah.
The Kang's all here.
All right, let's get started. All 10 of the TOS and TNG era Star Trek movies, including the 2 good ones, returned to Paramount Plus streaming service on July 1st. They joined the 3 Kelvinverse movies already on the platform, and this now makes Paramount Plus the place for almost all things Star Trek. Sorry, Prodigy, but
Wah, wah.
still love you.
Yeah. All right. So, a lifelong Trek fan, Rosaria Dawson, has never hid the fact that she really wants to appear in Star Trek. And she almost got her wish, but a franchise from a galaxy far away, got in the way. She is appearing at Fan Expo Boston. Dawson kicked off her panel with a Vulcan salute and told the crowd, "Live long and prosper." She revealed that while shooting the Disney Plus series Ashoka, she took a picture of herself in her Star Wars costume, drinking a bottle of Earl Grey tea.
A bottle of tea?
You
Okay.
can do that. You can buy that.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. So she told the audience it's okay to cross the streams when it comes to Star Trek and Star Wars. And then Dawson said that she had been asked to do something in Star Trek universe, and apparently she would have gotten to play a changeling, but she had just signed on to do Ahsoka and couldn't do it. So she said, "Do you understand my pain?" Clenching her eyes tight. That would have been really cool.
Indeed. Well,
It would have been cool.
the nice thing is, got more series coming up and more opportunities. So if they've asked her once, hopefully they'll
Yeah.
ask her again.
And you know what's funny? How people pit Star Wars and Star Trek against each other, like Marvel and DC. It's like
Yeah.
a lifelong thing. You can
It's,
cross
it's
the
usually
stream.
for clickbait, you know.
Yeah. You can cross
Yes,
the stream.
yes, the average person, they don't really care, but you know.
I know some people don't care either way.
As long as yeah, they don't care for either shows, or they don't care which show. As long as it's
Yeah.
a good show, that's all that they care about, and that's
Right.
the way it should be.
That's right.
All right. Well, speaking with the crew of the Verse podcast, Lower Decks creator and showrunner Mike McMahon kept himself from revealing specifics about the upcoming 5th and final season. He did, however, admit that he had to balance story arcs that were planned to resolve in upcoming seasons with the goal of crafting a satisfying single season and consciously wrapping up the whole series. He did, however, go out of his way to say that Tendi is not gone from the show. She
Okay.
will be a big part of season 5, and we can also expect some more legacy actors to appear.
Oh, all right.
McMahon said that things happen in season 5 that could be considered to be setups for spin-offs and backdoor pilots. Quote, these characters I'm introducing that you'll see clearly I want to do more with. Unquote. McMahon feels there is still more to the Lower Deck story, and he will always be into doing more seasons, movies, comics, novels, or whatever else comes up.
Novels.
Lower Decks is set to arrive on Paramount Plus later in 2024, but the streaming service has not yet set a release date.
That's interesting. Novels. You know, it's out of all the things you listed there, all of them are visual except for novels, and this is a cartoon show.
And it could be a graphic novel
Simpsons.
as well.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Could get him on The Simpsons.
A little walk on. Yeah. Okay.
Next story. The Roddenberry Foundation has announced its latest Roddenberry Prize. It's a competition for startups using AI, but not just any AI. The $1 million prize will be granted to an early stage venture that is using AI to improve the world. Judges are looking for AI and machine learning technologies with real-world impact that are capable of scaling up to support billions and billions of people. Because you have to say it that way.
I know.
Proposed solutions must be respectful of individual rights, be designed to avoid biases, and support at least one of the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Nothing about Starfleet or Federation directives in here at all.
No.
The application deadline is July 12th. We'll have a link in the show notes for episode 162 over at thetopicstrek.com.
All right. So in gameplay we didn't see coming, the team-based MMO action game World of Tanks Blitz now features a Star Trek scenario. I think I may know where this is going. You are given command of a top-secret Starfleet prototype vehicle. During a simple test of the tank, you encounter an unknown number of huge, heavily armored foes, encounter a crashed Borg cube, and engage in lots of zero-gravity combat. So World of Tanks is available for iOS, macOS, Android, Windows 10, Steam, and Nintendo Switch, pretty much any gaming platform. So
Yeah, pretty much.
Not my Sega Genesis?
No, and your Commodore 64, you have to wait a little while on that one.
2600?
Wait a minute. I think it said any game system within the last decade. Okay. There you go.
Well, it's very strange. I was playing the trailer, and we have a link to the trailer over in the show notes for episode 162 over at thetopicstrek.com. But yeah, they talk about having a Kobayashi Maru scenario in this thing.
That's where I thought this was going.
They have the tanks sailing through the sky. It's an interesting take on tank warfare, I
I'll
think.
give it a shot.
Tanks for the skies. There's a song in there somewhere.
Tanks for the memories.
Yes.
Tanks,
That's a
tanks
tank
alive.
for the new game.
Yeah.
All right. And now what you've all been waiting for. Let's face it.
All right. Wake
Look
me up
if
when
you got them.
wake me up when you're done.
Now it's time for the Battle for Paramount Mountain, Chapter 8. Come on, kids, gather around.
Wait a minute. I think you mean chapter 80.
Yeah, I feel like it. In a twist right out of a Hollywood script, our old friends Skydance Media, run by David Ellison, along with Redbird Capital and KKR Venture Capital, have, according to sources familiar with the matter, reached a tentative deal with my longtime one-sided nemesis, Sherry Redstone.
Ooh.
That's right. The deal that got called off 3 weeks ago is back, baby. It's back.
Yay.
Yay.
Now, the deal could be finalized as early as this coming Monday, July 8th. Parties are expected to work throughout the weekend to finalize the deal before Sherry attends the annual Sun Valley, Idaho Gathering of Technology and Media Titans.
Before she sobers up?
Well, no, that's a different story altogether. Now, to recap, once again, excuse me, hold on one second. Much better. To recap once again what the deal entails, Skydance would not actually be buying Paramount. Oh no, that would be too simple for me to explain. What would happen here is Skydance would buy the company Sherry Redstone owns, National Amusements, because one of the things National Amusements owns is 77% of Paramount Global's Class A voting stock. In fact, Sherry is the non-executive head of Paramount Global's board of directors. And by the way, I keep calling her Sherry, and I'm hoping that's okay because I feel like we're old acquaintances by now.
You know each other really close now.
At least frenemies. Anyway, the new proposal apparently has Skydance paying $1.75 billion for National Amusements. Now, that's less than what the parties had previously agreed to, but don't worry. There's actually about $50 million more for Sherry compared to the previous offer. So, whew. Good work there. Speaking of the previous deal with Skydance, not Sundance, that's a different festival. Skydance, the majority of the minority shareholders vote requirement put in place by Sherry to give her coverage from claims she orchestrated the deal strictly for her own benefit have been dropped.
Interesting.
Yeah, Skydance considered this a deal breaker, as it would mean they would have to go through the process of completing the deal only to have a vote go against them. And then what do they do that at that point?
Right.
But don't worry about my buddy Sherry. In the new proposed deal, she gains more protection from shareholder lawsuits. So all set there. Okay. Theoretically, Skydance would then own a company mostly known for its showcase cinemas. But then what? Well, then Skydance could use that majority shareholder leverage to merge with Paramount.
Yep.
See, it all comes together.
Yep.
Great.
Wow.
So now we're done. Clinton can finally get a break. Yay! Oh,
No.
No
Yeah.
way.
False.
Apparently, Skydance and National Amusements have agreed to a 45-day go shop period. Now, that sounds like a cool thing we can go to the mall or maybe Rodeo Drive.
Yeah.
No. During this period, other interested Paramount bidders can make offers. You see, even though Skydance has been pursuing a deal for more than 6 months, they're not alone. Private equity giant Apollo, Sony Pictures, and Byron Allen have also been linked to bids. And in recent weeks, investor groups led by people such as Edgar Bronfman, former chairman and CEO of Paramount Pictures Barry Diller, and producer Stephen Paul have emerged as interested parties. Oh, and I'm going to add a little bit of spice in here. One of those people I just mentioned, Stephen Paul, has just been found liable for copyright infringement in a lawsuit accusing him of manufacturing and distributing counterfeit DVDs on the faith-based film I Believe. So fine, upstanding people.
There's irony for you.
I know. I was gonna say.
Yeah, but back to the battle for Paramount Mountain.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about Paramount's current financial situation. Its stock has lost nearly 1/3 of its value since the rumors of a sale first started, and the company has over $14 billion in long-term debt. It had that at the end of 2023, and it didn't get any better, believe me. When the Skydance deal fell through a few weeks ago, the 3 Paramount executives who now make up the office of the CEO, Brian Robbins, Chris McCarthy, and George Cheeks, began implementing their Plan B to save the company. Naturally, layoffs were part of the plan, which is always unfortunate, but other triggers have also been tripped. For instance, if you're a subscriber to Paramount Plus, you may soon be paying more, as most plans for new and existing customers will be increasing between $1 and $2 per month later this summer.
Of course they are.
Great.
Then there's Paramount Global's removal of the online archives for ComedyCentral.com, tvland.com, mtvnews.com, and cmt.com for public access. In a statement, a Paramount Global spokesperson said the takedown came as part of a broader website strategy across Paramount. Wow. They get
What was
paid
that
to say that.
strategy?
Quote, we have introduced more streamlined versions of our sites, driving fans to Paramount Plus to watch their favorite shows. And some of this stuff would not be on any of those shows that they deleted. Side note, the not-for-profit Internet Archive has assembled a searchable index of nearly 500,000 web pages previously published at mtv.com/news,
Yeah.
which you can search via the organization's Wayback Machine feature.
And you can also go look at your old websites as well.
Yeah, but that's not a pretty site.
No.
Did I just put two and two together prior to that last paragraph? They're going to charge us more and give us less.
Yes, absolutely. And Paramount has already hired bankers to assist in the sale of, quote, certain Paramount-owned assets. In fact, Bloomberg is now reporting that a group of investors is holding exclusive talks with Paramount about a bid of $1.6 billion for BET Media Group. Among the potential buyers are BET CEO, that's a lot of things together, Scott Mills, and Chin Chu, who runs the private equity firm CC Capital. BET Media has been in play over the past few years, with Paramount stating its intention to sell its majority stake to a black buyer. Byron Allen and Tyler Perry are among those who have put forward bids before on BET.
Yep.
There are whisperings of early chatter about selling Paramount's historic Los Angeles lot and leasing it back with an option to buy it back again down the road. Now, as you may know, part of the lot is the old Desilu Studios, where the original Star Trek series was shot, as well as sound stages used for TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, some of the Star Trek movies, and more. And last, but certainly not least, Paramount is also still trying to find a partner for Paramount Plus for a joint streaming service. Names most often include Peacock and Warner Brothers Discovery's Max service. Paramount Plus currently has around 71 million subscribers, and a priority here is to accelerate profitability for the service. So that's where we stand right now. We should know some more beginning of next week, but it's not over because we got that 45-day, go shopping, see what everybody else is going to say, period.
Yeah.
So be sure to come back for Chapter 9 of The Battle for Paramount Mountain.
Yay. Hey, I wonder if the two streaming partners, Peacock and the Max service, Peacock must be doing pretty good. I mean, they must be doing okay.
Well, they pretty much everybody except Netflix is struggling a bit because they all have their catalogs of stuff.
Right.
They don't really have a lot of other people's, whereas Netflix and really to some extent Amazon have everybody's catalog.
Yeah.
That they can be pulling from. So
Peacock's got like NBC and USA stuff and things like that on there.
And we have a thought here that Peacock survives on Chicago shows. Yes, indeed. Chicago Med, Chicago, all the Chicago shows. Whereas CBS survives on was it NCIS or CIS? I forget which one, or maybe they have both. I don't know.
CSI.
CSI. Okay. So yeah, it's part of this whole thing is that they all realize that the linear broadcast, which is just your standard ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, that's declining year over year.
Oh, yeah.
And so they need everybody moved to this thing. But the concept that everybody has to have their own seems to be the thing that maybe was not the best strategy to take.
So we're going back to the cable bundle services.
Well, we're certainly going back in the direction of Hulu.
Yeah.
The old
Disney,
Hulu.
Yeah. The old, yeah.
Which was a combination of the three networks. I think it was ABC, CBS, and NBC all had stuff on there.
Yeah, that was convenient. I actually liked that. because I was
And that
paying
was
one
one
price
price
now. Yeah.
for all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
CSI is actually Paramount. NCIS, I think, is what you mentioned, is CBS.
Yeah. So so I don't have any answers. I wish I did have some answers. I go through article after article after article about this stuff, and everybody's as confused as I am. Hollywood is just, what is going on here? What is Sherry, my buddy Sherry, thinking? I wish I could tell you. She doesn't return my calls. Maybe because I kind of say a couple things in those calls. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's going to be an interesting. If this deal does get finalized over the weekend, if we don't have anybody that comes forward in the 45-day period that's going to shift that off, we move forward with it. However, I will even say, however, even if that happens, there is no guarantee that Skydance is interested in holding on to Paramount Plus. Now that could be something as simple as, well, they don't want it as a standalone. They want this joint venture kind of deal, or they could dissolve the whole thing and say, we're just going to provide, I think we've talked about this before, provide content to other streaming services. So we'll have to see what happens here.
Well, Jared Cooper said that Hulu Live TV is $75 a month now.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, Craig, it's, we don't want to get back into exactly, Eric. We don't want to get back into this whole bundles and cable TV outrageous pricing for everything.
Yeah, I did Hulu Live a little bit for a while, and then I dropped it. I don't think I've got any dedicated live anything except for on Max. Sometimes they have some live channels. Paramount has a couple of live channels.
Well, and there's usually something playing on my smart TV if you don't bring up any of the apps. It kind of defaults to Samsung TV. I go, find the local Phoenix News channel for me.
Yeah.
And that way when I turn my TV on, I've got some kind of background noise if I'm not really paying attention.
Or Pluto TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you still have to start the app. I'm talking about when the TV first turns on and there's no apps running.
Yeah.
Samsung TV is running by default.
Well, I did set up streaming for my neighbor, and I think that was his problem. He goes, "What? Nothing's on." It was like, well, you have to go to a channel, and he didn't understand that you have to start a channel, start watching something. It's not just start playing.
Sounds like a conversation I had with my dad this evening.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like the Bruce Springsteen song, except now it's 57 streaming services and nothing's on.
Yeah. My dad was talking to some of his friends. They're in the senior center or old folks home, if you call it that. And they said, let's get together on Tuesday night. We'll just sit and chat. And he says, you know what the old guys talked about? And I said, what, their latest surgery or medications? He goes, no, they wanted to talk about their cell phones. How do you do this? And is this possible? And one guy's like, how do I send what's on my phone to my TV? What kind of TV you got? I don't know.
Yeah.
What kind of phone you have? A track phone.
I got a pager. Can I get something on the pager?
Yeah, when somebody goes, hey, I want to put this on my TV. What TV do you have? I don't know. You're in for a long conversation.
Right. All that's on my TV is a penguin.
The blind leading the blind. It was priceless. I wish it could have been there. Well, no.
Yeah, I've said this before, but Jared was talking about Pluto TV is about as close to live TV as you can get. But I like it because just for that, you just go flip through channels and watch it. They got 3 channels of Star Trek, and Fail Army is the one where they have all the fail videos on.
And it gives you that nice old time cable feeling before you could punch in the actual channel.
Yeah.
Because if you go past your channel and you're not sure where you are, you just keep again and again and again and again, forward,
around and around.
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Eventually. All right, are we done with Subspace Chatter?
We are, because we have no news out of Vulcan, Alberta, Canada. So it's time to say,
they don't do anything.
It's sad when Mirror Charlie shows up to say this, but it's time to say goodbye, Charlie.
Thanks for having me along.
You're welcome.
It was fun. But now my Phasian step parents are calling, so I gotta go. Go.
That one is drawn on with a Sharpie.
I think so. I think
I think he ate a brownie that wasn't quite done.
oh, Charlie, we love you. We don't like your counterpart, so.
Yeah.
All right. But now it's time to go out on our main mission with an appropriate sound effect. Fairly nondescript, but we're going to be talking about
the script. That was the destruct code. Come on, you recognize.
Oh, well, we've got very little time to do this then.
We cut it down to 2 button presses. It just took too long the other way with this code 11A 2B 2.
We're boomed.
1A 2B or not 2B. Yes, exactly. All right. Well, we're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy.
Did we mention how many stories we have in the show notes?
Oh, we had 99 additional stories that you
99 red balloons.
Yeah, 99 Luft stories that you can read over the show notes for episode 162 over at the topic is Trek.com.
This is your assignment for next week. You have to read every one of them.
Absolutely.
And pick something out and call us.
Discuss.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we realize that all 20 episodes of the show dropped at once, but that's obviously too overwhelming to take place over the course of an episode to talk about a 20 episode season.
Yeah.
We don't have enough caffeine to keep us going that long.
What we've decided to do is a compromise. We're going to discuss 2 episodes like we normally would if this was a normal Trek show being premiered on Paramount Plus. Between each one of our shows, usually it's 2 episodes that premiere. We'll talk about 2. And just as if we were talking about them as they premiered one by one, we're going to consider these shows the only thing we've seen so far. So in other words, right now, theoretically, we've only seen episode 1 and episode 2. If something happens in episode,
Flyers can do this with Deep Space Nine decades after it's been off the air. We're good for a few weeks.
Right. So if it happened in episode 3 and beyond, we're not talking about that. We've all made some notes about what we see in the episode. So it's perfectly valid to make a speculation, because if that's the speculation you were having while you were watching the episode, then we will treat it as such.
And Jared's doing the same thing, sort of. He's watching an episode a day.
That's a good idea too. I like that idea.
It's a lot like my medication.
Bonnie, my wife Bonnie, she's watching episodes with me, but she's already starting to lag behind. So she'll be finishing. Her goal is to finish before Dragon Con, when spoilers will fly fast and furious at that point.
That's true.
Vin Diesel will be flying around. I don't know what's going on.
You'll be seeing some cosplay and going, "What? Who is that guy?"
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
up in episode 19.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's have Kreg. Why don't you tell us a little bit of background on our first episode?
All right. So, Star Trek Prodigy, season 2, episode 1, Into the Breach, part 1, written by Kevin Hageman and Dan Hageman, directed by Ben Hibben, excuse me. As a short synopsis, Dal and his friends board Janeway's starship to investigate the wormhole created by the protostar. Tired of his training, Dal longs for some action. As Dal does.
Didn't you read Temporal Mechanics 101?
Yes. Well,
no.
that becomes a running gag here.
Yep.
The first thing that I was wondering, I don't know if you guys were wondering, before the episode started, I said, first of all, are they going to have the Star Trek Universe logo? Because I guess I'm just used to seeing it on.
Oh, the little.
The ship going by. And
I thought the intro was doing that. I'm like, when are they going to finish drawing this darn thing? Because you see the protostar zipping around.
Yeah.
But the other thing, as I started to watch the credits, this is because I've been avoiding spoilers, so I haven't really thought that much about season 2. I said, well, they're going to have to use a new ship because the protostar blew up. And as the credits start and I see the protostar, my brain kicks in really fast going, well, of course they can still use the protostar.
Because they haven't sent it back yet.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, right. So they can just run with the credits that they have, just slip in some new names.
Yep.
And right away I noticed that Jimmy Simpson and John Noble, yes, that John Noble,
That John
are
Noble.
still in the credits. I'm going, okay. So I'm thinking, and I'm going, that also makes sense because why wouldn't they be around? You know, why
Right.
wouldn't
Right.
Dreadnought and the Diviner be around? And then Robert Beltran's title comes up going, okay, well, we know what's going on here. They're trying to rescue Chakotay. So it all makes sense. Just had to have a couple title changes and
Yep.
it works.
Yep.
Did anybody else? It was just me who was thinking that stuff before the episode started.
I hit skip intro.
No.
I'm kidding.
Never do that on the first
No,
episode.
I didn't do that on the first time. I didn't skip it the first time. Yeah, I was wondering about what ship they were going to show, and which it made sense, I guess, it's the Protostar, but I didn't really look at the names so much because I knew Chakotay was going to be showing up, stuff like that. So yeah, no, nothing a big surprise to me. How about you, Chuck?
No, I caught that as well. I went, oh, we're going to be seeing some return characters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next thing that I noticed is we have new uniforms again.
Again, because it's a new season of some new show.
I know, right?
It's not a season of Star Trek without new uniforms. But these uniforms are for the, well,
Cadets?
they're for the, but the,
It's like pre-K cadets.
because you know, Dahl and Rock Talk and Jacob, they're not admitted to Starfleet yet.
Yeah,
So
they're like
candidates.
They're candidates or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, for it. So that's their uniforms to distinguish them, I guess, and also to have new uniforms so cosplayers have to go, oh, not again.
Yeah.
But we get to find out, all right, now what's happened to our team? And I've got a point about this when we get through with it. We left off in the year 2384, which I'm assuming we're still in, because first of all, because Gwen is still headed to Solemn, so I'm assuming we're still the same year. But we find out how everyone's doing and what they're up to. Now, the first thing we see is that we have the shocking scene of crew being attacked and phaser fire all over the place. And
Oh
It
yeah.
looked like they were playing a violent version of laser tag.
yeah, because it turns out it's just some, phaser training.
Well, the phaser was knocking off chunks of the wall that one kid was standing behind.
Yeah, I did wonder about that. It's like, okay, how does the phaser fire distinguish between, of course, it's a hologram, so it's just registering that there's a phaser and it's registering that it's knocking off part of the wall. But
Well, then somebody starts taking out these circular phaser target or weapons. It sounds like hubcaps hitting the floor.
yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds
Probably
exactly like hubcaps.
Yeah.
And then you find out it's Murph. Murph is a crack shot.
And he gets the call to adventure on a pad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Janeway.
It sounded like a form letter.
Yeah.
Congratulations, candidate. You've been accepted. Like,
To
what?
Publishers Clearinghouse. No,
And
it
they
didn't.
all got the same form letter.
And speaking of which, the next thing we see is Rock Talk in giving, I guess, the results of some research that she was doing, because she was not teaching the class. The teacher was standing beside her,
Yeah.
but she comes up with a way to stop tribbles from multiplying.
Why?
Did you catch the Easter egg in there?
Yep, Lieutenant Edward Larkin is mentioned by name.
I heard Larkin and I went, whoa, back up. Yep. She said Larkin.
How do you
But-
stop tribbles from multiplying? Take away their calculator.
She didn't say, I stopped it, but by the way, he was an idiot. She didn't
Yeah.
say that.
Don't eat it, Edward.
That would have been funny if she says, he's just an idiot.
And then we get to find one of the things that's going to be a running thing, at least for a while, I'm assuming, because it doesn't end with episode 2. Jankum Pog is trying to better himself.
I love some of it. It's like it's painful for him to do this, and that they do such a great job with this, where Jacob is happy to see you.
Yeah, he falls down and he just kind of like, I'm okay. And he's taking showers now. But you just wonder, that's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
That's not going to last.
Did he get a new arm? I mean, because we look like Zero got a whole new body.
Oh yeah, at the end of season 1, she got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looked like the same old arm that he had before.
Maybe it just got cleaned up.
Yeah.
Well, he did say he was taking showers now.
That's true. That's true. Then Zero, and this appears to be another running theme we're going to have for the season. Zero is studying and she sees a couple of cadets and she's hearing their thoughts and their romantic thoughts. And she's pondering the joys of being corporeal.
Right.
And we have this conversation. She has this conversation again later on. So this is something that I don't know if it's going to get resolved or not, but it's kind of almost like the Data thing of,
yeah, or the doctor thing, or
you want to be human or feel things, or just be in on the experience type of stuff. I don't know. I don't really know how that can work. I mean, she's a Medusan after all.
And why now in her life? It just, why wasn't this a problem 10 years ago?
Right. And then Doll. Now, Doll is our token regression character.
Yeah. Yeah, just like
it's like Mariner.
Mariner. Yeah, I was gonna say like Mariner, you take 2 steps forward, then you take 4 steps back.
Yep. He misses his class. He's out just staring at the sky and watching ships take off. And my question at that point was, all right, is he disillusioned? Is he not excited by the material, the way it's being taught? Is he just not meant to be in Starfleet? I can't quite figure out what the problem is, and is it something that's solvable by being in Starfleet Academy?
I think they're showing him as a young daydreamer. He knows what he wants, but he just thinks he can go out and get it without the hard work that takes to get
I don't
there.
think he said the proper motivation yet. I think there's going to come a point where somebody, whether it's Janeway or the doctor or somebody's going to get through to him and go, if you really want this, you're going to have to put in the hard work.
Yeah. Yep. And everyone around him, I mean, they're telling him this is a great opportunity, that we're going to be on, this trip, and Rock Talk is already excited about all the stuff she's been doing, at Starfleet. So she's all in on the deal.
Yeah. Everybody's happy to be studying, and he's like, I don't want to study. I want to do.
Yeah.
And Gwyn is still on her way to Solum, which makes me wonder. I mean, we know it was in the Delta Quadrant, right? Her home planet, Solum, is in, because I remember had never had contact with Starfleet before.
Would she take a cargo freighter at impulse?
Yeah, I mean, it's well, you think about the fact that Voyager theoretically was going to take decades to get home, so it's going to take her a while. The question is, we don't really know how long it's been. It's sometime between that hearing that Janeway convinced the people at Starfleet to at least let the gang in, and now. So they've been here a while. We just don't know if it's been 2 weeks, 3 months. How long has it been since they got there? All right. Then with a drum beat, boom, boom, boom. And if everybody noticed that particular Voyager drumbeat happening, because the shuttle from Voyager lands. You definitely get some musical cues at that point. And emerges, as we knew was going to happen, because we'd already known that this was going to be the case, but the emergency medical hologram comes walking off of the shuttle.
Yep.
Robert Picardo did such a good job of this, and the animators did too, capturing his facial expressions.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
for the whole show, I thought I was watching Robert Picardo do some of these things.
Yeah.
He tries to explain how important he is, and they've never heard of him at all. They have not impressed.
Oh, great. Another hologram.
That's right. Yeah.
Matter of fact, when he
Oh.
says, Janeway sent him to help them, Jankum just throws his duffel bag. Oh, great. Carry this.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor, not a butler.
But yes, it was good to see him again, and we're going to be seeing him obviously throughout the season. Once on board the shuttle, once again, Dahl is kind of dreaming about we're going to be, saving saving Starfleet again type of stuff. And even Murph is doing a facepalm to all that.
Oh yeah.
Please, don't start down this road.
I think Murph's a lot smarter than they give her credit for.
Yeah, we get our first one of the briefings to kind of go over what was happening in season 1, where they discuss this anomaly and how the protostar created that when it was sent to stop the explosion from destroying all of Starfleet and subspace and everything. So we didn't have a previously on Prodigy thing in here. So everything for season 2 kind of has to just mention stuff from season 1 as it's going in conversation. So,
Right.
Sometimes it's heavier than other times. It's a bit more apparent that it's going on. And as Dahl points out, in another nod to another franchise, this timey-wimey stuff, speaking about time travel, hurts my head.
Yeah.
That was a little too on the nose.
Hey, well, Doctor Who has crossed over with Star Trek in the comics. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And there's also mentions of Star Trek on Doctor Who. There have been several of them. So it's a back and forth situation. Then we get the reveal of Voyager. Now, I didn't see the word Voyager on it. I couldn't tell if it was Voyager A.
Mhm.
I was trying to find that too.
Because
actually, it was on the shuttle. It was on the side of the shuttle too.
Okay, did it
Said
say
Voyager
Voyager
A.
A?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Because we established that, as we know from Picard, they say that Voyager is now is a museum. So it's part of the Starfleet Museum.
Yeah.
And this is a Lamar class science vessel, but refitted with the latest tech from Voyager's journey and then some.
Hedy Lamar, not Hedley Lamar.
Hadley.
Yes. One thing that Zero says, which I thought was interesting, is how come Zero knows all this stuff, but I suppose maybe it's not a secret among Starfleet. It says 29 decks, 800 plus crew, and 2 schools. Now, the 29 decks is going to become important in the next episode, because I was just jotting this stuff down for specs, going, oh, okay, it says 29 decks, 800 plus crew, blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't tell the color of the ship. It came across sometimes as almost like polished aluminum color.
Actually, you know what it reminds me of is the Enterprise E. Very much so. Even the nacelles, everything. That's what. So I was a little disappointed. I thought I'd have a little more of some design cues from Voyager. The
front of the ship does, because it's got
with the kind of slung back deflector shield area.
Yeah, but still looks like Enterprise E.
Yeah.
But and then the nacelles don't move.
One of the articles that was that is in the links that we have, apparently, and I didn't read the entire article, but apparently the initial idea was to have it not be Voyager, but have it be Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that there was pushback on that.
The article I read, they actually asked Kate Mulgrew,
right,
and she said, no, it's got to be Voyager. And I'm like, yeah, what? That would be weird for her to be on the I mean, not weird in the sense that she serves in Starfleet, but weird in the sense that this is her legacy, the Voyager ship, just like Picard. You know, he was on the Titan for a little bit, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Why would you want to be on another ship, a different name? That just doesn't make sense.
I agree. And it's in space dock because the reveal of a ship in Star Trek has to be in space dock. Although I noticed that they didn't have the 8-sided lights, even though the 8-sided lights are
The octagonal.
even in Discovery in the 32nd century, in that last scene, they have those lights that were just in like Star Trek the Motion Picture, but they don't have them here. So I guess for a while they got away from it. They went retro after that, apparently.
I would like to see some engineer, polishing stainless, polishing one of them.
Now, what I found interesting about that shot around Mars is that you have to realize, because they very shortly after that, they talk about the evacuation of Romulus is still underway.
That's right.
So this is that period of time between the beginning of the evacuation and the attack on Mars, because you wouldn't be building, Voyager A.
Actually, if you read the comics, Picard was, that was the whole reason he ended up leaving Starfleet, because he mentioned it in the show as well, I think.
Yeah.
Where he was trying to get this last group of Romulans rescued, and it didn't work out well, and so it was a disaster for him. And Starfleet was like, "You need to remove these people forcefully." And he was like, "No, that's not our way," and it's a whole conundrum there. So anyway, I'm kind of digressing, but this is kind of bringing all that into canon.
Right. And so we're in that little time period, because once the attack happens and destroys the ships in production there, that's when the Federation and Starfleet back off and decide not to continue with their participation in the evacuation. So we're in that window of 2384 to 2387 for this season.
We also get a couple of name drops. She did mention, I promised Admiral Picard that I wouldn't take this one for a spin in the Delta Quadrant.
I wouldn't get
And
lost
she
there,
also
yeah.
mentions Jellicoe in the context as well.
Mhm.
Yep.
I thought he was gone.
Was that?
Dead.
I thought Jellicoe was gone a long time ago.
No. He was in season 1 of Prodigy.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
So they on board, we have a quick run-in with Nova Squadron candidates, and they're as cocky as their predecessors.
Yeah.
But they spend a lot of time on them when you think about the episode. So it's like that signals, this is not just a passing thing where you're going to see them and that's that. One of them is clearly a Lorian, a young Lorian. And the female looked like could be a Vulcan, but could be something else. Because as we know now especially from like Discovery season 5, pointed ears doesn't mean you're a Vulcan. And the third one, I don't have any clue what species that character was. Might have even been human for all I know. I'm not sure.
One of them looked, which one are you talking about? The
other what appeared to be a male.
Like Morn. Looked like Morn a little bit.
Well, no, that was the Lorian.
Oh, the Lorian. Okay.
The other I'm assuming it was a male. But they all had that attitude. That same attitude that worked out so well the last time. So you don't really learn anything.
Yeah, you know what happened with them. So
the other thing we get to see once on board, and I thought this was interesting. I don't know if you picked up on this. We probably picked up on the fact that in the turbo lift, they show a standard turbo lift shaft.
Yep.
So that I picked up on right away. The second thing I noticed was that it was 6-sided, and 6-sided in Star Trek 5 when they go up the 79 floors in the Enterprise.
Right. Yeah.
That is also a 6-sided shaft. So there's a bit of a tie-in there. But the other thing that was a bit more subtle. Remember, this show is supposed to be something that introduces you to Star Trek. We had a lot of first season stuff. What is a tricorder? What is a phaser? What
What's
is
the
the prime
Federation
directive?
versus Starfleet? Yeah.
This one talked about, the EM8 says, well, a traditional elevator only goes up and down. This is a turbo lift, and it can,
Go
can go up.
horizontally. And
Right.
you see another one go zipping past in
Yep.
like, yikes. Do they have collisions?
I would assume not, because that would be bad.
Yeah, it would.
It was also odd, though, that the turbo lift stopped because the EMH drops off everyone at their assigned spaces.
Right.
It opens right up onto where they are supposed to be. And that's usually not, the turbo lifts don't usually open on
No.
every single room. There's usually, sometimes yes, but a lot of times it's a
Usually you're dumped
corridor.
in a corridor. Yeah.
I think it's another Doctor Who crossover in Easter egg.
I see. This Jankum is assigned to engineering, and he's all aghast.
Is that a slipstream?
Slipstream. Ooh. Murph is doing security training, and I didn't get a chance to take a look. Did anyone recognize, was the space that he was in, is that the one that Worf used to train in, those ruins?
I don't know for sure, but I think that's what it looked like.
Okay. Zero is assigned to work with the Doctor.
Yep.
Rock Talk is in cetacean ops, but they have apparently dolphins, not beluga whales.
Not beluga whales. I was waiting for that. I really wanted that.
And then Dahl is in command training with Sam Cogley's old books, apparently. And he's suggested that he tries to offer some light reading, like Temporal Mechanics 101. But
Another
he's
record.
not having any of
Can
it.
I get that off Amazon?
Yeah.
I want the audiobook version.
He spends time doing a face chatting with Gwyn, who has still not reached Solemn at this point, but very soon will be there.
But just like today's technology, the connection gets dropped. First it freezes, and then it gets dropped.
See, the thing is, it should have the little spinning thing as soon as it freezes up. Like
I would have laughed if there had been a message that says your internet connection may be unstable.
Yeah. Right.
buffering. Yeah.
I want a t-shirt that says that so bad.
Now, all this stuff is great, but it's all basic things. What we need is some meat to the story.
Yep.
So the mystery gets introduced because the EM8 slips up and makes a reference to Shuttle Bay 3, which he quickly tries to backpedal on. And as Zero says, terrible actor.
Did I say 3? Oh, I meant 2.
So we don't have 3 Shuttle Bays.
I laughed really hard when I heard Zero refer to the Doctor as a terrible actor. I think we need to remind Robert Picardo on the cruise.
Yeah.
There's another t-shirt that we should just give him. The Doctor's a terrible actor.
But
I'm a doctor, not an actor.
yeah, we find out that there is this ship in not Shuttle Bay 3 per se, but in a kind of a storage area, and it's cloaked. So this is all being very, very odd. Why is there a cloaked ship in here? And so, everybody's trying to figure this out, and the door opens up, and in comes
ships are illegal. They're not allowed.
right. It definitely is.
They kind of find it by accident. They go, "Oh, there's nothing in here," but Dahl kicks. I don't know what that was. It looked like an easy, a 2-pound weight that you use at the gym.
A dumbbell.
Right, it was a dumbbell.
Yeah, and there's another one there too, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
But as they're trying to work all this out, Janeway, the EMH, Commander Tices, and Counselor Gnome come walking in, so they hide as quickly as possible, and they're eavesdropping on the conversation. Well, they're eavesdropping, but
From the
Jenkins doesn't
rafters.
understand how that works.
Yeah. The first words he would have said would have been heard.
Right, because they can hear what everyone down there is saying.
I can imagine I would be down there going, what is that? Especially when Murph starts Drooling.
Sweating, drooling. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't leaking of some kind. I'm not sure what was going on there. It turns out that the ship is called the Infinity, and it's a Federation support courier. It's experimental with temporal shielding shield emitter. I did not realize we had temporal shield emitters.
We do now.
And Admiral Janeway says that Admiral Jericho won't allow Janeway to proceed on the mission because he believes the wormhole is growing unstable and can put the entire timeline at risk, and he doesn't want to lose any more officers. So this begins our mystery.
Hey, I don't want to lose any more officers today.
Yeah, today.
Any red shirts?
We'll immediately go to, we'll rate them at the end. So we're going to immediately jump to the next episode. Chuck, walk us through the basic statistics here.
Sure. According to the information on my pad, this is season 2, episode 2, Into the Breach, part 2. Written by Aaron J. Weltke, directed by Patrick Krebs and Andrew L. Schmidt. The short plot synopsis is that Gwyn runs into a familiar foe on the planet Solum. Janeway reveals the true stakes of their mission to Dahl and his friends. Sworn to secrecy. You know how that's going to go.
Yeah. Well, so we have two stories here.
2 minutes, and then that's it.
Yeah, we have two stories going on here. We're going to go through Gwyn's entire part of this story, and then we'll go to Voyager A for what's going on over there. So Gwyn does get back to Solum on this a shuttle, which I guess the shuttle was not part of a ship, a support ship or anything like that. It was just the shuttle that took her this really long way.
I believe so, yeah.
That was interesting.
It can only go warp 1.
But she's given a pep talk by the shuttle pilot and saying, and I'm here if you need me. And Gwyn transports down onto the surface in the middle of an open area and just starts making a speech.
I'm here.
I'm here and I've got this message, and people
Come in peace.
Who are you and what the heck are you? It seemed like a not well thought out way to begin this whole thing.
That's right. No, I thought the same thing. Is like she just beamed down to like a town square and started presenting herself,
interrupting conversations and all sorts of stuff. Do you mind? We'll deal with you later, but first we're going to have this conversation, and then you can tell me about outer space and other civilizations.
Welcome, and I bring the good news of Starfleet, our Lord and Savior.
Yes. You have a few minutes to talk anyway.
Good news, everyone.
But it looks like she's right outside, conveniently, where the elders of Solum are, because she's taken inside by a couple of soldiers, and she meets with them and starts to make her pitch. The same pitch is like, if you weren't paying attention to me before, what I said outside, well, I'll start over again from the beginning. Hi, I'm Gwyn. Gwendala, really, if you're not that familiar with me, or Miss Jackson, if you're nasty. And here's the deal.
Yeah.
And that's great. But what is the monkey wrench that gets thrown into this perfect plan?
What was her name? Not Artist.
Essentia.
Yeah.
Essentia. That's it. Isn't that what
No, that's not.
Lee always said?
No, that's not. That's Excelsior.
Oh. No, that was Sulu's ship.
No, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
Well, Essentia beat Gwyn to Solum and has spread her version of the story to the elders. And she even has Dreadnought. Oh, yes, Dreadnought is there. Project a map of the decimated capital of Solum. And, everyone's aghast at that.
Aghast.
But the big point here is that Essentia...
Wait a minute. Why, if that was Dreadnought, why didn't she recoil until she encountered it at her dad's office?
Well, I think she kind of expected it, when she saw Essentia there.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was like unexpected at all at that point, because she knew that they left together. So, but the real sales pitch here that Essentia can give is that she can summon her younger self And the elders can see that she is clearly a Valnukat, because here is young me right here.
Right.
And Gwyn can't do that because she was hatched out of a test tube. She doesn't have a young Gwyn that she can show.
Well,
And-
she wasn't created yet, right?
Right, but even if she was, she would have had accelerated growth, and they would have been staring at her, and she probably would have, like, I don't know, grown.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all. I think all that was done on Taj Lamora.
I'm pretty
So
sure it was.
Even if she
Saga.
was the proper age, even though that wouldn't work out because that didn't happen until the time jump.
Yep.
She wouldn't be on Solemn. She'd be on Taj Lamora.
So she has to cheese it out of the council chambers.
Yes. And she gets her first of, her uses of her heirloom, because she's able to zip line down to the ground.
Well, actually, I thought right before that, as she's jumping up, she's climbing up. Everybody's sitting there watching her do that.
Yeah, and Essentia uses her heirloom to throw
Yeah.
a spear, which she uses to pull herself up and then zip line out.
I thought it was funny that, like I said, it looked like she was not taking her time, but just taking the time to get up there, and everybody's just kind of just imagine them watching her.
Not
ascend.
chasing, no weapons, no
But
nothing.
what they're doing? They'll probably say things like to themselves, "Hey, wait, come back here, stop."
Stop, or I'll use harsh words.
Yeah, halt.
Has that ever worked? No.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't tried before.
I mean, it wasn't like she just ran 5 feet and jumped out a window. She had to jump up and then go through a window.
But fortunately, she has a plan, because once she gets to ground level,
She can
uses
call
her
for an emergency
communicator
beam out.
calls to the shuttle for emergency beam out.
Mhm.
But
There's a problem there too.
it gets blowed up.
Yeah, 2 Valnacot warships blow up the shuttle.
Wah, wah.
Ooh, this is just not going well at all.
Nope.
Then Gwyn's face starts glowing.
Yeah, what
And
does that signify again?
Well, that means she is in proximity to Iltheron, which is the
From Lord of the
Well,
Rings.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes,
Well, that's
but
Elrond. That's
uh,
right.
Iltheron. It's got all these L's and stuff. Iltheron, because that is her father. That is the diviner as a young astronomer.
I love how John Noble tried to make his voice sound younger, because usually, "You will do my bidding." He sounds like Palpatine or something, but then you hear him as younger.
Hey,
Hello there. But he's you can still hear his voice coming through.
yeah, it is a totally different from the diviner though.
Oh, absolutely.
He's doing fun. It's good fun.
And she tries to explain who she is, which of course is not going too well with her father. He having real trouble with it, but she produces her heirloom, which he still has because timey-wimey.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you gave this to me as a gift. And then she says, will you help me? And here's where you have one of those things where he says, what, refuse to help my own daughter? Surely I don't make that bad of a father, do I?
Yeah.
It's complicated.
At certain points, he almost sounded senile. Oh, did I give that to you?
Yeah, he sounded older, didn't he? Because he was nicer. Yeah, apparently he needs to go watch season 1.
Yeah, really. He should catch up.
Spoiler alert, Dad.
Yeah.
Well, he
Yeah,
doesn't
like
have any answers, but he says we'll go to the Arcanum, where basically it's the library of information where we can probably find something. And she sees at that point, as a surprise, what she thinks is Dreadnought coming around the corner, although it's white.
Yeah, he got a white
Color.
paint job and his eyes weren't red, so it's okay.
Yeah. Explain that he's just a law keeper. He's kind of a librarian. And he has her put the heirloom into this round ball. I'm not exactly sure why, but the solution he comes up with is that if she goes through the Valnura ceremony, and she is victorious, then she will be accepted as a Valnukat, that she will be
Yeah.
accepted,
You don't have to listen
one
to
of the
her.
people.
And
Yeah.
she must bathe in the living waters on Mandalore.
No, that's different. Apparently, though, it's a dangerous ceremony, although we don't get any details at this point. All right, so that takes us through Gwyn's story. Did anything come as a surprise to you guys about what happened to Gwyn once she arrived at Solemn?
I just didn't. I didn't quite buy the whole. I'm just gonna beam down and start making my case. You know.
It seemed like the council was a bit of a pushover too. Like, wait, we better listen to both sides of this story.
Yeah.
Oh no, they didn't at first, right? Because they said, well, we've been told about this stuff, because as she's finishing her story, essentially saying, yeah, they already know that there's life on other worlds. I told them all about it
Yeah.
and what bad news it is.
Yeah. And a spy would come or whatever, and there was a story already set up for Gwen to show up.
Just walk
So
right into.
yeah.
It's a trap.
I did.
Now we
I
are
did
crossing the streams
wonder-
again.
That's like the fourth time.
I know.
I did wonder at the end of season 1, okay, she's going back to her home world. How do you prevent this thing from happening when the whole concept was that you had people who were for working with the Federation and, being part of a larger collective, and those who were dead set against it? How are you going to solve that problem? And it looks like it's as much of a problem for her as I thought it might be, even just getting them to listen to you in the first place.
Maybe she causes it.
Could be. We'll have some of that timey-wimey stuff going on, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go back now to Voyager and see what's happening on there.
You mean Enterprise E?
Yes. Well, Voyager has reached the
Voyager.
rift, and they send a probe into the rift, but they don't get much information, and it breaks up.
And then a big glowy ball comes up and says, "Stay out."
Yeah.
Now, I listened to that voice, and there were certain words that voice said
Okay. Yeah.
that I said, that's Chakotay.
I thought so as well, because that's why it's so distorted. Is you're not meant to figure that out quite yet.
Wouldn't
Because
Chakotay have called her Catherine though?
Well, I think that maybe he's not doing that because he doesn't want it revealed to her that's who this is. Because I think it's mostly when the voice said Janeway, I said, boy, that really sounds like, Beltran saying those words.
Why didn't he just appear and go, "Look, I'm okay. This is Chakotay. Just you don't have to come find me. I
I'm
did all
far
right."
from the bones of my father.
Everything's
Yeah.
cool. I'm here with Cisco. We're just hanging. It's
Well,
cool.
Hey, well, Chakotay would know that if he was disguising himself, she is driven enough to still pursue looking for him.
Right.
So why didn't you just go, hey, this is Chakotay. I'm cool. I turned out all right. I'm now a
Yeah.
glowy ball thing. Everything's all right.
I've transcended. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, my sunscreen factor's a little high now, but it's all cool.
Wesley's here too.
Yeah, I need 35 sunscreen factor.
We have Dal drop in on the bridge in the middle of all this, and
Drop in.
literally drop in.
We saw this in the teaser, so this was not unexpected.
Right.
Yeah, because he's hanging around the Jeffries tubes, where I believe it's Rock Talk who says Jeffries tubes only lead to trouble. And
There's
you can't
another
deny that it's
t-shirt.
true.
There's
You just
another
can't deny it.
T-shirt I want.
Yeah.
Jeffrey's tubes only lead to trouble.
That's right.
But then Janeway gets to brief Dal, Jankum, Zero Rock, and Murph on this. So again, we're getting some more backstory from season 1 with some new things added to it. and trying to piece all this together. And this really was an information dump conversation. There was a lot going on in here, talking about how they recovered the piece of the protostar and then found this recording that was made, the security recording that apparently had lots and lots of angles to it.
Yeah.
That was made in the Chakotay is sending off the protostar to stop it. You know, some of this we knew already, that he sends off the protostar to stop it from being used as a weapon.
Well, and then our young heroes finally get it that, oh, if he hadn't done that, you know, he did that to set us free kind of thing. If he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have found it and blah, blah, blah.
Right. But now there's a catch, because apparently this anomaly is 52 years into the future.
Yep.
But it is lock synced to their time. So 1 hour this side, 1 hour that side. And they have to wait another 41 hours before they go through to try to rescue Chakotay, because he has to send off the unmanned protostar first.
Yep.
Otherwise, Gwyn will never be born. The Charles Lamora will not have happened. Everyone will not be on there together. This all this timey-wimey stuff is going to be happening. So Janeway says, all right, do you understand all this now? How important this is? And she's, yes, you have to go over after Chakotay. We understand. And please, please, please keep this a secret.
I don't think they were 4 feet out of the door. And
Nope.
Dahl is shooting off his mouth. And
well, they were actually, in all honesty, they were talking amongst themselves. It wasn't like they were but they were talking too loud.
Well, if you get some secret thing, go where there's a room, not in the hallway.
Right. It's a public place.
Take the turbo lift to the room. Yeah, you're right.
At this point, I think it's at this point we actually get the name of the Vulcan female of Nova Squadron candidates. It's Majel. Now that's MAJ''EL.
Actually, I thought.
Wow, where did they come up with that one?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I thought they said Michelle. I went.
No.
I had to rewind it and listen again. I was like, okay, Majel.
So it's Majel, but it's Majel.
Yeah. Right.
And this is not the first time she's overheard their conversations. This is how the whole thing,
Well, with ears like that, you're going to hear everything.
Well, that's another story altogether.
Hey, that's racist.
But she says something here that I'm going, really? Is that new? Maybe it's not new. She says a Vulcan's psychic senses are enhanced near another telepath. Have we ever known that about Vulcans?
No, I haven't.
I don't think so.
Maybe she's not really Vulcan. Maybe she's half Vulcan, half Beta Z or something.
I don't know, because this is what she says to Zero, and she's trying to probe for the real story of what's going on here. I'm going, I guess, I don't know. So she goes off and she wants this whole squadron, the candidates, to meet her, and they're going to check this thing out. And it's now become a race against time. Who's going to get to that bay first?
Because
what they're going to do when they get there, I don't know, but they're racing to get there first.
Our young heroes, of course, take the Jeffries tubes.
Yes, because that leads to trouble.
Because they've already been in them enough this episode.
Now, what I want to call out here, there's a callback to the first episode. We have this thing. They weren't playing the girl from Ipanema in the turbo lift, but Majel is like stuck on every single deck.
As she's heading towards she's heading towards Shuttle Bay 3.
You're going to take the next one.
But at one point, it calls out deck 32. When in episode 1,
we heard 29.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, what's the deal here? What's going on? Are there mystery decks in here?
There's secret shuttle bays. There's secret decks.
It's actually like a building, it has no 13th floor.
Well, now it all makes sense. No, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, that aside, yes, eventually she gets fed up with people coming in and just says, you will take the next turbo lift. and they are beaten there by
Oh, we could cosplay that at Dragon Con.
the
You will take
elevator,
the next
I mean, the
elevator.
turbo lift. Every time the doors open up in the elevator, they go, "You will take the next turbo lift."
Right. I'm Majel.
Yeah. That's right.
Now, our heroes, I guess that's in air quotes, I don't know, the home team
Yeah.
gets their
Home
first, they're sliding down the Jeffries tube, I guess.
I sure am glad these are not as small as the ones on the Enterprise where you had to crawl through them.
Yeah.
Well, they got substantially bigger over time. You'd be able to stand upright. I think even in the,
Why don't you just make them official corridors at that point?
I know it's,
Well, this Voyager looks bigger than the previous Voyager.
well, I think it's because everyone spends all their time there. They finally went, all right, fine,
Yeah.
we'll make them bigger.
Camera crews are getting sore.
Yeah.
It used to be a nice place where a person could sit and play
There's
their
like a
flute.
He has a
But
replicator in there
no.
and a Starbucks.
Yeah, they trip over one of those folding piano keyboards.
Yeah. There's a lounge in there. Yeah.
All right.
Who left their crack pipe in here?
But even though our team gets there first and Dal somehow is able to disengage the cloaking device and get on board, and he's just messing around with the controls, doesn't have any clue about what he's doing. Suddenly, the pilots show up and they're going to file a report and they want them off the ship and it's illegal and blah, blah, blah. And they come on board and then Rock Talk comes in saying, well, this is all wrong. And this is so what's going on here. And the fight ensues. Jankum gets Vulcan neck pinched or knocked out somehow. And he falls on the control that launches, that begins the launch sequence.
Of course it does.
Now, 3 people get thrown out of the shuttle. That is the other members of the Nova Squadron candidates, besides Majel and Rock Talk, are thrown back out. So everyone else is on board. So you've got Majel, Dal, Zero, Jankum, and Murph are on board the shuttle. And so Janeway's going, so how are things going? Well,
someone just did an unscheduled launch of Shuttle Bay 3.
Although, interesting to note, the orb is back right at that point.
Yep.
And says,
don't go in. We have
No.
no intention of going in. What are you
no,
talking
at that point, when the shuttle is about to go in, the orb is back saying, Janeway, time is now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Okay.
apparently this is supposed to happen, even though it's a complete mix-up,
Yeah.
that they weren't supposed to go in for several more hours. So we'll see if, well, first of all, we'll see if that's actually Chakotay. At one point, we'll have the answer to that riddle. But why now? Why go in when it theoretically
Now the
is
time.
too
Yeah.
early to go in?
Right. Yep.
By several hours to go in. All right. Any other observations on the second episode or thoughts on what the crew on board Voyager A was doing or not doing or could have been doing better besides talking quieter in rooms?
Yeah.
It's going at a good pace.
Do what?
It's going at a good pace.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think
All right.
so.
Well, why don't we rate these now? So we're going to go back to Into the Breach Part 1, which
Okay.
is really just all setup. That's pretty much what this is, a setup of the characters, setup of the beginning of the mystery. That's what the function is of Into the Breach Part 1. We could rate this on 1 to 10 copies of Temporal Mechanics 101.
Sure.
By the way, there is a copy of that on Amazon.
Oh, excellent.
Edition 2.
Ooh,
It's on
edition
Amazon.
Imagine what edition they're up to in their time.
Yeah.
at least 3.
It's been rebooted.
All right, we'll start with you, Kreg.
All right.
Into the Breach Part 1.
There wasn't much. There wasn't a whole lot going on except for catching up with everybody, and so I'll give it an 8. I think it was solid. Just where everybody was at, kind of where we expected. We got to see new ships and stuff. So yeah, give it an 8.
All right. I'm gonna give it a 7 because I didn't like, much like I didn't like it happening with Mariner. I didn't like the fallback
Oh yeah,
on Dahl.
that's true.
I felt like, oh, we're gonna have to go through this again. Are we?
You know what? I'm going to revise mine because I was actually going to do 7, and I thought, well, I'd give it a little bit more, but I'm going to give it a 7 as well.
Okay. And what about you, Chuck?
I'm going to go 7.5.
Okay.
I acknowledge the shortcomings of Dahl's regression, but I did like things, the touches like Robert Picardo doing the Doctor very well.
Yeah.
There were certain lighthearted moments that I just absolutely loved.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. And now Into the Breach Part 2. We're past the setup of where the characters are and remembering that these are the characters. Now we start to get into the meat of the story a bit.
Yeah.
So we'll go in the reverse order. Chuck, we'll get a rating on, how about 1 to 10?
Breaches.
Breaches.
I'll hike up my breeches then.
Yeah, there we go.
Hike up your breeches.
I'm going to go with an 8 on this one. I like where they're taking the story. I think it's off to an exciting start. We've got some suspense. We've got some, what's not combat, but between Nova Squadron and the home team.
Mm-hmm.
Rivalry.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
We've got some rivalry that causes some tension. We've got, mystery. We've got Gwen in an unknown state. Is she causing this? Is she, I like where her story is going. Although I thought that moved just a little slowly. I don't know why. Maybe it was just too much chit chat time with Dad. But I like where this is going. Solid 8 breaches.
Okay. I will give it. I'm going to give it 8.25.
We're down to quarter points now.
Well,
Wow.
we've done quarter points before. It's when you get down into, I'll give it an 8.125 is when you have to start to worry.
Uh-oh. Diane's going to have to update her
7
spreadsheet.
levels of precision on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest plus in this episode was I had no idea how Gwen was going to accomplish a mission that to me seemed doomed to fail to begin with. And the fact that she runs into complications, but it's not the complications I thought she was going to run into. I'd forgotten over the, intervening months that Essentia got away.
Yeah.
And that, well, yeah, this makes total sense. She's going to get there. She knows that Gwen is still around and Gwen is probably going to come back. She needs to
Poison the well.
Yeah, stop this before it even begins.
There's a snake in my boots.
Exactly. No, not at all. So
Topic is Trek.
I did like the fact that I didn't have expectations, but what I got really was not what I think even in the back of my mind I would think is how this thing is going to shift to go horribly wrong. Then the other part of the story, Voyager reaches the rift and you have the setup. I felt like we knew as soon as we saw the shuttle, they were going to be the ones on it. It wasn't going to be Janeway and, the MH and all that kind of stuff. Our crew was going to be gone again. So it's just like, okay, we got to get to that point.
Yeah.
So that's why I felt like, yeah, okay, it was serviceable and you had some fun lines in there and there's some stuff going on. But really, we knew all along this was going to happen. So 8.125. No, 8.25 for me. What about you, Kreg?
3.14.
Oh my.
No, so no, I'll give this I'm going to give this 8.25. I thought it was they put everything in a good spot at the end of the episode. There was enough in there and the pacing was all right. I didn't, as we talked about earlier, Gwen's appearance and she starts talking to whomever would listen kind of thing. I was like, It just threw me off. So I didn't care for that part, but you could tell that our hero team, they were going to continue doing the same kind of things that got them in trouble with stuff last time, which is what they ended up doing, what they weren't supposed to. So, but I was predictable, but I did like it. I like the pacing, and seeing Janeway drinking coffee on the bridge again was pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. And this time it's not a hologram Janeway. It's
Right.
a real Janeway.
That's
Drinking
right.
coffee. Yeah, I didn't notice that. Was there a cup holder in the captain's chair? I didn't-
If there's not, that's an oversight.
yeah. Totally missed the mark on that one. Didn't read that note from the first Voyager, apparently. All right. Well, that's our opinions of episode 1 and episode 2. Next time around, we'll be discussing episodes 3 and 4. Again, we're marching through, and we'll see how the story unfolds. We'll keep our notes about what our thoughts are, and we'll see how clever we are and how completely wrong we were. Just like when we do our annual predictions about, oh, we got this one totally, and then no, that was not Chakotay.
Yeah,
that was this guy from episode 13 of something or other.
it was Daniels.
It was Daniel. No, oh my god.
Chakotay's first officer was one of those bird guys.
Yes. I wonder if he's the same species as the ones from the animated series. Although they were
lower decks.
They were the ones in the animated series were yellow colored.
Oh yeah, Char.
Yeah. So I don't know.
They don't ruffle his feathers.
No. All right. But on that, it's time to try to refill the lithium chamber and warp on out of here. You can find me, Clinton, at Comedy Forecast, all one word with the number 4.com. You can find me on the social medias and in a couple of months at Dragon Con as well. How about that? Yeah. And who speaks for you guys?
Chuck does.
Again? Okay. You can find us by searching for Technorama Podcast. Kreg and I do a show on Sunday nights called Technorama. Tech, sci-fi, and all things geek. 19 years and going. We're in our 20th year. Oh, my hip.
Yeah. Oh.
You've never been hip, Chuck. Don't worry about it.
Well, Clinton, you're a 19-year-old podcaster too.
I announced that the last episode I put out was the first episode of my 20th year.
20th?
Right? Well, my 20th season, right?
Oh,
2004 to 2005.
It's like the 21st century, Kreg.
I got you. I understand.
Math.
It's timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah, exactly. My head hurt. Oh, such a headache.
Temporal
Mechanics 101.
Yeah.
That's right. I got 8 of them, in fact.
Time to hit the theme, boys.
That one. That one. There it is.
If you like the show, please be sure to tell a friend about it and subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear from you. Follow us on X at The Topic is Trek. Visit our Facebook page or call us at 816-TREKKER. That's 816-873-5537. Until next time, on behalf of Chuck, Kreg, and myself, I'm Clinton, thanking you for listening. And as we always say here on The Topic is Trek,
don't put on the red shirt.
Oh, crap.
Don't do it.
Done.
Alrighty.
Just realized we have a palindrome in our phone number. The 735 is reversed at the end as 537. It went through a wormhole.
Yeah, it's actually stuck in the wormhole. So.
That's right. It's Lagrange point is the
just right of the dash.
All right, you ready to end the stream?
End our stream.
End the stream. Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching.
Bye.
Take care.
See you next time.